Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Michael for those of you who are brand new here, and if you are returning you may notice I'm in a different location than usual. So my apologies if you hear any noises or sounds. I hope that's not too disruptive to you. Today we're going to be looking at the reading we have for February 2022 for all Sagittarians, whether that is Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, whatever, doesn't matter. However this video finds you, you are welcome to view it. I do have all of my links in the description box down below, so if you're looking for a personal reading or Reiki session with me, you can book those on my website. Those are the only place I offer those. Please don't listen to anyone on social media who's offering to do a reading to you in your direct message. It's been a huge problem lately, so don't get scammed. And I do also have all of my links for my actual social media accounts, which you can follow me on there as well. And as always, I want to thank all of you who have supported this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. All of this allow me to continue putting out these messages and doing this incredible work, so thank you so much for that. I actually have all of your cards already on the table here, and the first card that I had for you was the Seven of Cups, showing up in the past. And this is really interesting to me, Sagittarius, because this reading very much feels like a continuation of the reading I did for you last month in January. So if you haven't watched that one, that may be worthwhile to you, because I see the Seven of Cups as you taking off this mask or casting away these illusions that you've kind of told yourself in order to continue living a certain way or being in certain relationships or doing certain things that are no longer serving you. Maybe there has been this feeling out different opportunities or different options. And as I'm saying this, I'm getting a very loud ringing in my ear. So some of you really have been in kind of a brainstorming mentality. I do see with this energy showing up in the past, it's actually very interesting to me that we are starting off this month with a new moon in Aquarius, because for you, Sagittarius, Aquarius is your third house. It's the house of your mind, of communication. And when we're talking about astrological houses, we're talking about these different areas of our lives. And there is this new beginning, this seed that is being planted here, either in your thoughts or in the way you express yourself or communicate, especially with siblings and with your peers. The way you just kind of talk about who you are or your ideas. And for those of you who do manifestation work, I would very specifically encourage you to write out your manifestations or even speak them aloud on this new moon that we have on February 1st. And there could also be something with writing as well, and maybe that's where this brainstorming is coming in. Maybe some of you are drafting some sort of writing or just putting down your ideas on paper or typing them out could possibly help you figure out what it is that you want to do next, what course of action you want to take in your life, regardless of whether or not you're a writer. That still might be helpful for you. And what I kind of see coming from the Seven of Cups, energies you've sort of gained and mastered and really will help you this month, is the King of Cups. And I actually do see this as your energy, Sagittarius. I feel like there's been this period of disillusionment that you've gone through. And maybe there was this bubble that was popped here with this Seven of Cups, this sort of dreamy energy or this illusion that has since vanished or faded. But you're actually stronger for it with the King of Cups. You don't need to lie to yourself. You don't need to deceive yourself anymore. And for some of you, maybe there is another person who is doing this as well. But I very much focus on you because this is your reading. And so even if there is someone in your life who is telling you things that don't resonate as true or just feel false in some way, there's some element of you deceiving yourself as well. Even if you don't fully believe this person, you're allowing them to be in your life or to do certain things, to behave certain ways. And I think this will become clearer as Mercury goes direct on the 4th, which is very interesting. And that same day, we also have your ruling planet Jupiter in Pisces is going to be forming a sextile, and I believe that is with, just checking my notes here, yes, it's with Mars in Capricorn. And both of these energies are very much about home and stability, coming into stability for yourself, and perhaps fighting for that, fighting for what you deserve, fighting for a place to hold as your own. That could potentially be thematic as well. But I see the way that you are defending yourself is very wise, very composed, very mature. And it's not to say that you're sweeping things under the rug, especially with this Five of Wands here. I do feel like there are people around you who are kind of engaging in petty conflict or behaviors. And Sagittarius, you're actually coming out as quite mature in this situation. You're bringing a balance to this situation that other people aren't able to maintain. Which is interesting that the challenge that you're facing this month is the Strength card. The Strength card often is about emotional composure. It's not just ferocity. Even though we have this lion here, it is very much about taming the beast with gentleness, with this maiden. You're just very self-possessed this month. And that's a word I've been using a lot in these readings, but I feel like it's a word that really makes sense for you right now. And I feel like the strength that you have isn't necessarily brute force or being stubborn. It's actually being adaptable, flowing, still meeting your own needs. Again, this isn't to say that you're being a pushover. I don't get that sense at all. You're just not playing the games that the people around you are playing anymore. You're speaking very directly, very calmly, from the heart, or that's what you're being advised to do this month because the people around you could be kind of crazy. And it's interesting. I often notice with Mercury retrograde, it's actually in this post-shadow, which is when Mercury goes direct, when it appears to be moving forward after going backwards for some time. We're almost in this catch-up phase. And that's when we can see the things that have been happening behind the surface. Or beneath the surface, behind the scenes. Excuse me, I'm getting a little something in my throat here, which is interesting. Maybe some of you do need to speak up. There's something with your throat chakra here that is giving you some problems. And again, with all of this Aquarian energy we're in Aquarius season, we have the Aquarius new moon. There really is this need to speak up, but that doesn't mean that you have to be a bully. That doesn't mean that you have to match the way other people express themselves. You can set the precedent for how people behave around you, to some extent, anyways. And we do have a full moon in Leo towards the middle of this month. And this really is perhaps a change in your worldview. The way you kind of perceive the world at large. This could be through spiritual understandings, this could be philosophical, this could be education. There might even be something with travel that is happening there as well, or connecting to distant lands. That could potentially be something with this Leo full moon for you. But I feel like this is very intellectual, actually, with the King of Swords. This is coming out in the future. And I feel like, again, this is your energy. I know that we often read these different court cards as being of different signs, different elements of different signs. The swords being air. Maybe there is an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, that you are communicating with, or someone who is embodying these energies. But I really feel like this is very much about you, because the King of Swords is very calculated in what he says and does. And I look at him in this card very much bringing order to things. Not being thrown off by emotions. He's very, very logical. And I'm just using he for this card. We don't actually look at gender in tarot. This could be a masculine, feminine, non-binary person. It doesn't matter. But I feel like this is you. I feel like all of this is you. The energy that feels external is actually the Five of Wands, which is what's around you. which is competition or conflict. But I feel like you come across as very centered, or you need to come across as very centered this month. And I actually did pull 2 animal cards for you as well. We have the Stingray, and this actually feels more like your energy, Aquarius. I feel like this is, or I'm sorry, Sagittarius. I feel like this is you going with the flow this month, in this season, especially as we get into Pisces season on the 18th. We really need to be flowing right now. And I say we because I have a Sagittarius moon. I also connect to you as well. And there's something about riding the waves. Not necessarily forcing things to happen right now. Not necessarily trying to change anyone's mind. Speak your piece and be the peace. And then we also have this octopus energy too, but this actually feels like energy around you. I kind of feel this sense of like tentacles, maybe energy cords as well. Some of you might be experiencing or sensing energy cords. You might be feeling drained when you think about certain people. There might be some sort of auric tear or auric connection between you and another person that is depleting you in some way. And maybe that's what this King of Swords is. It's cutting cords. You might actually end up closing off connections by the end of this month, especially if this is involving family, because we are in your 4th house with Pisces energy, which is the house of home, of family, ancestry. You might also be working with ancestral trauma or intergenerational trauma. And very often when I see octopus, it's a situation or an energy that's hard to remove with those suction cups, with those tentacles, something that has taken hold that you are now extracting yourself from. You are flowing away from here. And whenever I see Stingray, it's kind of just like, yeah, things might be hard right now. They might be challenging, but you just got to go through it. You just got to move through it. And sometimes when you accept, like, yeah, this isn't ideal, but I'm just going to let this happen. I'm going to go through this. I'm going to do what I need to do anyways. That feels like the energy you need to tap into, especially around the 4th, again, when we have Mars and Jupiter forming a sextile. I feel like some of you are also setting plans into motion, and maybe there's a lot of competition and you're doubting yourself in some way. Don't doubt yourself. You're very, very capable of doing the things that you hope to achieve. And for some of you, I get the sense with octopus as well, as sticky as this energy can feel, it is also the energy of an escape artist, because octopuses in captivity are notorious for getting out of their tanks. They can get themselves out of any situation. They're very, very, very intelligent animals. And they're very tactful, or they have a lot of tactics that they employ. They use camouflage. They'll even put rocks around them. I'm thinking of the scene in the documentary, My Octopus Teacher. If you haven't seen it, it's a beautiful documentary that kind of follows a year in the life of this octopus. And there's so many different things that this octopus does to protect itself. And all these ingenious defense mechanisms and ways of living, ways of hunting, getting food. Octopus is very much about you having your wits about you in that sense too. So even if you feel stuck in a situation, keep your vibration, keep your energy, keep your frequency high. And you don't do that by living in denial, which is what some of you may have been doing in the past. Some of you may have been using positive focus to spiritually bypass things that just aren't compatible for you anymore. And that doesn't mean that you have to let your energy sink with the world around you or with the people around you, but it's identifying that this isn't really working for me. I think a lot of you have already had this realization with the Seven of Cups in the past. And just thinking about the astrology for the rest of this month too, all the planets are going to be direct once Mercury goes direct. We do have a bit of catch-up to play in February. We're going to be in the post-shadow of Venus and Mercury retrograde, integrating all these things that have challenged us, or all these adaptations with the octopus energy that we need to make. But the energy is very forward moving from now until the end of April, when Pluto goes direct. Pluto goes retrograde on April 29th. So there's a lot of you just working and focusing on the things that matter. And I will say with Jupiter and Uranus, they're also forming a sextile on the 18th. Again, Jupiter is in your 4th house of home, and Uranus is in your 6th house of routine, of health, your daily life, the daily grind, so to speak. Some of you are really making changes to your life now. You're setting good habits for yourself, and you're sticking to them with the King of Swords, and you're becoming very successful. I feel like some of you might actually be pursuing education or be getting some sort of recognition here as this King of Swords. And I think you have more knowledge than you realize, or you might take your knowledge or wisdom for granted. And I think you're going to kind of look back at some point and really see that you already had all of these different tools or this information or wisdom that helped you. That's another message I get. I feel like you already have what you need to be successful. Or you have what it takes to be successful. And for those of you, again, who are trying to find a space or a home that's going to be very available to you this year, or there's a lot that you're working through this year that is helping you become a match to those things. And again, I feel like you're setting up these good habits, these good routines. You're able to stick to them now. And you started off this reading in the Seven of Cups energy, which is very cloudy and unclear, and you end off with the King of Swords, which is very clear, very focused, very disciplined mind. And maybe that's this evolution too, perhaps, from stingray to octopus, kind of just being thrown by the tides or currents of life, and suddenly using them, moving with them to your advantage. That's another way to read these animal cards, but I feel like there is still a dual message here where you are being adaptable still. You are moving with flow and unlatching yourself, freeing yourself from this energy that has clung onto you or manipulated you. And to really just go a little bit deeper. Again, whenever someone else manipulates us or deceives us, there is always an element of us deceiving ourselves as well. And that's not to make what that other person does okay. It's not to say that you're to blame, but I think you're recognizing your own patterns that cause you to come into these relationships or connections where you're repeating patterns that aren't working or are hurting you. There's a lot of you knowing what is worth fighting for and what is worth letting go. And those are all the messages I have for you this month, Sagittarius. I do hope that this was helpful. Be sure to hit like and subscribe and let me know in the comment section down below what this sort of reality check is, or how it is that you are now seeing the world differently. That seems very, very important. What sort of clarity are you gaining this month? There we go. What is the clarity you are gaining this month? That seems very, very important. If you'd like some individual assistance or personal guidance, you're welcome to book a reading with me. Again, all of my links are down below, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, Sagittarius, and have a happy February.